What if I told you you could fly around the world in business class, staying in 5-star hotels, all for free? This is something everyday Australians do all the time, and it involves credit cards. You may have heard of the phrasing credit card churning. In short, credit card churning involves applying for new credit cards that offer a sign-up bonus and then using that sign-up bonus to pay for your airline fares and your accommodation. In most cases, all that's involved in doing this is applying for the credit card, meeting a minimum spend, and then the points are credited to your account. However, there lies the problem for a lot of people. Like me a few years ago, when I went to apply for some of these cards that offered the amazing sign-up bonuses, the eligibility criteria was way outside of where I was at the moment. But that doesn't mean the opportunities weren't out there. So today I'm going to share with you exactly what I found. These are the best 5 credit cards I could find for anyone looking to get started in the credit card churning movement that have no annual fee. Now, before we get into the specifics of each card, I just wanted to preface that in order for this to actually be effective and be worthwhile financially for you, you need to have a deep respect for the damaging nature credit cards can have and that they do have on most consumers. When used incorrectly, credit cards can stunt your wealth growth by years and can sometimes have you paying them back for decades. Don't believe me? Here's an example. Let's say you have $15,000 in credit card debt at an 18% interest rate. If you were to only pay the minimum repayment on that, which is all that's required for most credit cards, it will take you 50 years and 3 months to pay that off. Now, the time length in and of itself is insane. But listen to this, over that 50 years, you won't only pay back the $15,000 in debt that you had, but you will also pay $40,483 in interest alone. So, in order to avoid paying any fees at all, this is what I recommend you do, and this is exactly what I do each month with my credit card. You'll put your normal expenses on the card, always keeping in mind the amount of money that you have in your debit account. So you're never using more than you actually have. Open up a spare savings account within your bank that you hold your debit account with. And every time you make a transaction on your credit card, transfer the amount that you spent on the credit card from your personal account into that separate spare account, that savings account that you opened up. Then at the end of the month, when you get your bill for your credit card, you transfer over the exact amount. Eliminating the balance means you don't pay anything in interest and you're worry-free. With this strategy and a little bit of self-discipline, you can take advantage of all of the rewards and benefits that come with credit cards without attaching the negatives. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's go over the cards. Number 5, the Virgin Money no annual fee card. Now, this card doesn't have the fancy bells and whistles of some of the other cards, but it's one of the best cards you can have as a beginner. You've got access to Fraud Shield, which is an around-the-clock service that if Virgin Money pick up any dodgy transactions, they'll notify you immediately and make sure that you won't be liable in the event you are the victim of fraud. Now, the eligibility criteria for this card are that you're over the age of 18, a permanent Australian resident, have a minimum income of $25,000 a year, and have a good credit rating. Number 4, the St. George Bank no annual fee card. Again, this card doesn't have too many bells and whistles. However, with this card, you can also add 3 additional card holders at no extra cost. This card also includes fraud protection, and another benefit, they only request that you have a regular verifiable income, no minimum amount listed here. As for the eligibility criteria, again, you're over the age of 18, you're an Australian citizen or on a permanent residency visa, and you have a residential address in Australia. Okay, number 3, it's getting a little bit more interesting now. In this position, we have the American Express Essential credit card. As it says on the website, this one has great benefits and no annual fee. Like the previous 2 cards, This card also has fraud protection and no annual fee. But for a smartphone paid in full by the card or have the monthly payments put on this card, you actually get $500 worth of screen repair credit every year. Not only that, the ability to earn 1.25 membership reward point on every $1 spent. And keep in mind, these points can be redeemed to 9 of their airline partner reward programs. Otherwise, you could use the points online at American Express Travel or Webjet. You could use your points at David Jones. You could use your points to purchase gift cards, transfer them into cash to use for eligible purchases on the card, or use them for experiences with Ticketmaster. But you also get access to their buyer's advantage, purchase protection, and refund protection. Now, it isn't the end of the world, but they do actually have a minimum annual income for this particular card of $40,000. Other than that, it's having no bad history of bad debt or payment default, being an Australian citizen, a permanent resident, or a long-term visa holder, agreeing to access your statements online, and being over the age of 18. Now for number 2, we have the Citi Simplicity credit card. As the name suggests, it's a pretty simple card, no late fees, no annual fees, but in terms of benefits, this is what brings this card up. Every time you dine with the Citibank dining program, you get a free bottle of wine. You also have access to Citi's World Privileges, which includes money off dining, upgraded hotel rooms and car rentals, and online shopping discounts. And like number 3, you also get purchase insurance and extended warranties. Now this one only has a $35,000 annual income requirement, and again, the 18 years of age and being an Australian resident. And finally, number 1, the Qantas American Express Discovery Card. This card offers all of the same great benefits as number 3, the other American Express card that we covered. However, this card earns you 0.75 Qantas reward points for every $1 you spend. Not only that, but at the time of applying for this card, the Qantas reward program actually had a $99 application fee. However, because I had just been approved for this Amex card, they actually waived that $99 application fee, allowing me to get access to the Qantas reward points without having to pay for the application. Not only that, but it includes all of the same world-class service benefits as the other Amex card that we mentioned, and it actually has a $5,000 a year lower minimum income requirement. So the eligibility criteria for this card is that you have an annual income of $35,000 a year, you have no history of bad debt or payment default, you're over the age of 18, and you're an Australian citizen, permanent resident, or on a long-term visa. And with that, we wrap up the best 5 credit cards for beginners. Now, before you click off this video, I know none of these credit cards had the amazing sign-up bonus, but at the end of the day, you need to have a starting point. And if you can get a card like this that has no annual fee, which you can keep open for the rest of your life, not only will, in some of these cases, actually using the cards give you additional points, but as some of you may be aware, the longer you have a credit line open, the better it looks on your credit report. So in having this card open and keeping it open, you are actually doing yourself a favor in terms of increasing your credit score. That's all for this week's video, so I really hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, if you could please leave a like, it would really help the channel in growing and reaching larger audiences. If you had any suggestions for future videos, by all means put them in the comment section below. If there were any cards that I missed out on, or you have any recommendations for cards, please pop them in the comment section below. It would really help out the people who are watching this video trying to get started in credit cards and building their credit score. Other than that, I'll see you next time.